Hey Coders, welcome back to the Smart Ideas YouTube channel. I am Sai Teja. I hope you are doing great. In today's video, we'll be going to discuss Codechef Starters 214 Div.4 first 4 problems. And without getting late, let's get started. So let's begin with the first problem, dice play. Chef is playing with two standard 6-sided dice. After rolling the both dice once, Chef observes the numbers appearing on them. So you are given two integers a and b, the numbers shown on the first and second dice respectively. So what is your a and b? These a and b represents the numbers which are shown on the first dice and the number which is shown on the second dice after rolling the both dice. So your task is to simply determine whether the both dice shown the same number or not. If the numbers are same, if they are equal, you are supposed to print the output as a yes, otherwise output as a no. So let's try to read the input format. So the first and only the line of input consists of two separated integers a and b, the numbers shown on the first and second is respectively. Okay, and what is our output format? The output format is a single string on a line where we are supposed to print yes if both dice shows the same number, otherwise print no. Okay, so let's also observe the constraints. Now the numbers shown on the dice 1 and the numbers shown on the dice 2 are in the range from 1 to 6. Yes, it's a general dice. And if you observe the sample input and output, for the sample input 1, you have given two numbers a and b, which represents the numbers on dice 1 and dice 2, 1 and 1. And since they are equal, yes, since they are equal, we are supposed to print output as a yes. Now let's say there is another case. Let's say we'll take input. The number shown on the first dice is 3. The number shown on the second dice is 4. Now what we are supposed to print output as a no. Because since they are not equal, we are supposed to print output as a no. So I hope we understood the problem statement. Yes. Now let's try to what is the main logic behind this problem. So according to the input format, you will be given two integers a and b. It's as simple as that. When we roll these two dice, there will be two numbers, certain two numbers will be appearing on these two dice. Say this is a and this is b. Now what is the main logic? Now the main logic is nothing but the numbers appearing on the both dice are equal, which is nothing but a equals to b. Then there are two cases. It might be equal, might not be equal. So if it is equal, we are supposed to print output as a yes. If it is not equal, we are supposed to print output as a no. So it is as simple as that. Let's quickly try to code it up. So let's try to code this problem. So input format will be given two integers. So let's try to declare two variables a and b, and also let's try to read these two variables, and we'll simply reuse a simple if else statements. If a equals to b, then numbers are equal, so we'll simply print output as a yes. And if both the numbers are not equal, we'll simply print output as a no. So let's try to run this, and the output we got is yes, and our output is yes, and as expected output is also yes. So let's try to submit this one. Yeah, so all the test cases are passed. That's it. Okay, let's try to look at the second problem, chef and close friends. So the problem statement states that chef lives at a position x on x-axis and chef has two y friends, each living at every integer point in the range from x minus y to x plus y except the position x itself. Okay, and chef wants to visit his friends, but his mother has placed a strict rule where chef is allowed to travel at most jet units away from his home in either direction. This means chef can move only within the interval which is x minus z comma x plus z, and your task is to determine how many of chef's friends live within the range chef is allowed to travel. Okay, let us try to understand what is problem statement is about to tell, and let's go with the input format. T number of test cases, and each test case will contain three integers values x, y, z, where these denotes x, where you will be given three integers x, y, z, where x denotes current chef's position on the x-axis, and where y defines the range. Using this y, we can define the range, friends range, which is from x minus y to x plus y, and z defines the at most distance where chef is allowed to travel from the current position, which is x. Okay, now output format, we are supposed to print a single integer where number of friends chef can visit. Okay, so let us try to understand using this sample input and output. So first let's take this case 1, which is x is 0, y is 2, and z is 1. So try to represent a number line. Okay, let's try to represent a number line. Now if this is the number line, and let's say this is your current x chef position, which is x, say 0, and using this y we can define the chef's friends range. So chef's friends range is defined from, which is from x minus y to x plus y. So can I say that 0 minus 2, which is minus 2, and 0 plus 2, which is 2. So in total, how many friends does chef has? 2 into y friends. So in total there are 4 friends, which are from minus 2 to 2, except x, which is chef's position. So minus 2, minus 1, 1, 2. Okay, and z represents the distance where chef can move in either of the direction. Either of the direction means, since chef has some friends on the left side as and also right side, so chef can either move on the left side or right side. At most z units of distance. At most means you can go till left or right either 0 distance or 1 distance. Since z is 1, you cannot go more than 1 unit of distance. So that what defines at most. So since z is 1, chef can visit only one of his friends on the left side, yes, and chef can visit one of his friends on the right side. So in total, chef has visited how many friends? Chef has visited 2 friends. So output should be 2. And in the same way, let's try to explore the second test case. So what is second test case? Where what are the values of x and y, z? X is 10, y is 3, and z is 5. So chef can visit his friends at most at distance 5. And now same as we'll take a number line, and we'll assume that this is the current chef's position, which is x, which is 10, and where are the chef's friends, which are in the range from x minus y to x plus y. So x minus y, 10 minus 3, which is 7, and 10 plus 3, which is 13. So in between we will be having 9, 8, and also 9, and 10, and 11, 12. So in total chef has how many friends? 2 y friends. 2 into y, which is 6 friends. 3 are on left side and 3 are on right side of chef. Okay, now since z is 5, chef can visit one of his friends, which is at the point 9, and also he can visit he can visit 8, and also he can visit 7, and also he can go till one of the point which is 6, also 5. But but we'll consider 7, 8, 9 as a chef's friend, whereas 5 and 6 are not chef's friends. Yes or no? In the same way, 11, 12, 13, we'll consider these numbers as a chef's friends, and 14, 15 will not consider as a chef's friends. Okay. So whatever the range, before range or after this range, it's a, in between this range, we'll consider the point numbers as a chef's friends. Out of this range, we'll consider those are not chef's friends. So can I say that 5 and 6 are not chef friends? And in total, from the left side, how many chefs has visited? How many friends of chefs are visited? 3. And in the same way, in the right side, chef can visit his all of his friends, which is 11, 12, 13, which is again 3. So in total, 3 plus 3, output should be 6. So chef has visited all of his friends, which are 6. And here chef has total 4 friends, but out of 4 friends he can only visit 2 friends. I hope you understood the problem statement and also output. Now try to observe something from this both sample input 1 and 2, as well from output 1 and 2, and try to notice something. And how do you define output as a 2 and how do you define output as a 6 here? Okay, so simple. Now when you observe something in between y and z, y is 2, z is 1, and output is 2. So output is, can I say that I can print output as a 2 into y, 2 into z? Yes. Now if I go with output as a 2 into y, here y is 1, sorry, 2 into z. So if I go with 2 into z, z is 1, so 2 into z, which is output as a 1. Now how can I print output as a 6? I can print output as a 2 into y, which is 2 into 3, 6. And how can you define our answer as a 2 into z and 2 into y? How can you define for a certain case, for a certain sample test case? How can you define our answer is 2 into z, and how can you define our answer is 2 into y? Simple. Now the friends range is from x minus y to x plus y, and distance is 1, which is less than y value. So which means I cannot visit all of chef's friends. I can visit only some of his friends. Yes or no? And some of his friends on the left side and also right side. So in total, the number of people I have visited is defined by 2 into z. In the same way, here total number of friends which are 6, y is equals to 3, and which is from range from 7 to 13, and since z equals to 5, which is greater than y value, so he can visit all of the friends of the chefs. Yes, so in total you are supposed to print all the friends of chefs, which is 2 into y. So the logic is simple. We'll simply compare both the values y and z, and we'll simply take minimum of both values. So what is the minimum of those two values, y and z? Z is the minimum, so output is defined as 2 into z. And what is the minimum of these two values, y comma z, which is y is the minimum, so output is a 2 into y. Okay, I hope you understood the problem statement, also solution. Now let's try to quickly code it up. Okay, let's try to code it up. And as I told you, that input format will be given in this format. First, t number of test cases. Let's try to read t number of test cases. And for each test case, you will be given 3 integers, x, y, z. So x represents current position of the chef, y represents Y represents the range of the frames, and Z represents the distance, at most distance where chef can travel. Okay, and using these two, we will simply compare both the values y comma z. So we will always try to pick minimum of these two values. So can I say that we will print the output as a minimum of these two values, whatever the minimum of y comma z, and into 2. We will simply print output as a minimum of y comma z. We already knew that why we are taking minimum of y comma z, and y into 2. Into 2 is because now when we pick minimum of y comma z, where it will calculate the number of people which are on the a single side. Okay, there are two sides, we can either go on the left side or we can go on the right side, and whenever we are taking minimum of y comma z, it will just consider a single side people number of peoples on a single side, but we are supposed to calculate on the both sides, so into 2. So if there are x number of people on the left side, same number of people were present on the, you can visit same number of people on the right side. So in total, min of y comma z into 2. So let's try to run this. So let's cross check whether it is giving as expected. 2640, yes. So let's try to submit this one. So yes, the result is correct. That's it. Okay, now coming to the third problem. So third problem is about problem name is zero permutation score. So the problem states that chef has an array of length n. Initially all the values, like all the values of array a1 a2 till an are equals to 0, and chef wants to transform this array into permutation of integers, which is 1 to 2n, and chef may perform the following operation any number of times. Select an index I such that I belongs to the range from 1 to n. So can I say that using this information my I is index goes from index 1 to n, so it is of one based index. Yes, it is of one based index array. So you initially take an array which is of size n. Since it is of one base index, you will take n plus 1. Now if you take n plus 1 array of size n, and you will fill all the entire array values, initially all the entire array with all the values are 0. Okay, so far it is clear. And chef wants to perform an operation on any such index where from 1 to n. Pick that index and pick any random index I. Update the value of array a of I equals to a plus 1. Okay, so and after every operation compute z as follows. Z is the number of indices j such that j is belongs to from 1 to less than n, and both the adjacent positions are 0. A of 0 equals to 0, a of j plus 1 equals to 0. Okay, chef score is the sum of z overall operations performed. Your task is to determine the minimum possible score chef can achieve while converting the array into permutation of 1 to n. Okay, let's try to understand the problem statement. You will be given an array of size n. Okay, chef has an array of size n. Since it is of one base index, we will take an array of size n plus 1, so that we can able to access from index 1 to index n. Okay, so that we can able to access from 1 to index n. And chef wants to perform an operation. What is that operation? Select an index I such that index should be from in this range from 1 to index 1 to index n. It can be any index from index 1 to index n. Okay, select any index and update the value of that particular index to existing value plus 1. So initially all are zeros. Now let's say since initially all are zero, we'll pick any random index and we'll simply try to update the values plus 1. We'll try to update the value of that index in the array plus 1. And for after every operation, you just need to compute the value of z. What is the value of z? How will you compute the value of z? It is defined by the number of indices j such that where j is from 1 to less than n, okay, 1 to less than n, and where both the adjacent positions are 0, like I mean array of j equals to 0 and array of j plus 1 is also 0, so that you can include that current index j into our z. So you need to find out such number of indices, how many number of indices are there for after every operation. So for after every operation we will be having certain number of indices where adjacent current a of j equals to 0 and a of j plus 1 equals to 0. So after every certain operations you will be having certain number of z values, z1, z2, z3. At the end you are supposed to find the value of z plus z1 plus z2 plus z3 so on until there is no longer any adjacent zeros, for the indices from 1 to n. So your task is to determine the minimum possible score while converting the array into permutation from 1 to n. So your array should contain the numbers from 1 to n. So let us try to understand one more time by taking an sample input and output. So your input contains of t number of test cases, and each test case will contain only single integer which defines the length of the array, and output a single integer mean one score that can be obtained. Okay, so yeah, now let us take an array of size 8. Let us consider an array of size 8. Let us consider an array of size 8. Since it is of 1 based index, we will not include 0 index. Since 8, n is 8, right? N is 8. So, okay, let's take n is 8. And for the n equals to 8, output should be 9. Let's see how we are getting output as a 9. So, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, 6, 7, 8. Okay, now since n equals to 8, we'll take an array of size n plus 1 to obtain an index 8. So we'll take an array n plus 1. Initially all the values are filled with zeros. So all the values are filled with zeros. Now what chef wants to do? Chef wants to perform an operation. You need to pick an index. So let us not include these values since we are having array of n plus 1 till here. So now what operation we are need to perform? We need to pick an index which is from range 1 to, we need to pick an index I from 1 to n. So we need to pick an index from 1 to n such that you need to perform that operation where a of I equals to a of I plus 1, and we need to convert this array into permutations where it will have like numbers from 1 to n. So So you can, since all the values are 0, you can pick any of the index. Now if I try to pick an index 0, what will happen? I'll try to make this as a 1. Now what is the value of z? What is the value of z? Z is defined by number of indices j, where it is belongs to from 1 to n. Yes. So what is your z value? Z is defined by number of indices j, which is belongs to from 1 to n. 1 to n. So now we will also exclude this value index 0, since we are following one base index. Now let us try to make this as a 0. Let us try to perform an operation on this index 1. So if I perform index 1, now I will update the value to 1. Now what is the z value at this operation? Z value is nothing but, will include that index only if array of j is equals to 0 and array of j plus 1 is equals to 0. So since it is 1, we will not include. Now since it is 0 and next index is also 0, next index value is also 0, we can include. So how many pairs I will be having? So I can say that this is one pair, this is one pair, this is also one pair, this is also one pair, and this is one pair, and this is one pair. Total number of pairs are total 6. So for the current when I equals to 1, I am having z equals to 6. Okay, z equals to, is it 6? Yes, it is. Now what should I need to take? Any random index, right? I can also pick 2, but if I pick 2, what will happen? Now what will happen if I pick 2? I will update this to 1. Yes, I will update this to 1. And how many pairs I can have? Such that a of j comma a of j plus 1 is equals to 0, 0 comma 0. How many pairs? I can say that this pair will be eliminated. Yes, since it is 1, and number of pairs will be for the next index. If I equals to 2, z will be 5. Yes, but instead of picking 2, can you somehow pick any other index and try to reduce this number of z values, number of these pairs, 0 comma 0 pairs, which is nothing but z value. Instead of picking 2, if I pick, previously it was 0 and I can have one pair. So when I make this 0 into 1, I am eliminating only one pair. Yes or no? But instead of this, if I pick 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7, now if I let's say pick 3, what will happen? I'll simply change this value to 1. Now because this value is 1, I cannot have a pair 0 comma 0 by index 2. Yes, from index 2. And in the same way, I cannot also form a pair with 0 comma 0 using this index 3. So I can say that I am eliminating 2 pairs. Yes sir. Previously I have eliminated only one pair. Now because of making this third index as a 1, I eliminated 2 pairs. Now because of I made change in index 3, I got output as a number of pairs are 4. Previously it is 6, now it is 4. And you see that we have reduced the number of pairs Previously it is was 5 because we picked index 2, but if I pick index 3, the number of z values are 4. Okay, so this is operation 1, and for the next operation 2, if I pick for the next operation, if what index I need to pick, is it index 2 or is it index 3? Index 3, so that I can get minimum number of 0 comma 0 pairs. Why do we need to get minimum pairs? As we observe that your task is to determine the minimum possible score. So how will you get the minimum possible scores? For every operation we are trying to find the calculating z value. Now for every operation we are getting certain z value, and we are end up adding these z values to find the final result. So can I say that to have the final result as a minimum, so we have to reduce this z1 or z2 z3 values. And how can we reduce this z1 and z2 z3 values after every iteration? It is depend upon the index we are picking. Yes sir, depending on the index we are picking, we are reducing the number of pairs, 0 comma 0 pairs. And how can I say that I have to supposed to pick 3 only? Why cannot pick a 4 5 6 7 8 index? I can also pick remaining index also, which will give the pairs as a 4. But the thing is, if I make third index as a 1, further operations I will get the minimum number of z values. How can I say that? Let's say if I pick 3, now for the next operation 3, okay, now so for I equals to 3, z equals to 4. So total result, and okay, I'll try to perform. This is operations, and this is index, and this is z values, and this is final result. So in the first operation 0, initially every value of the arrays is 0, so each and every index I'll not pick any of the index. 0 operations, I did not pick any index, and the value of 0, which is nothing but z is defined by number of pairs which are having 0 comma 0 values, 0 pairs. So initially everything is 0. Can you tell me how many pairs I can have which are having 0 comma 0 pairs? Can you tell me how many pairs I can have 0 comma 0 pairs? Initially everything is 0, right? So 0 0 0. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Now since n is 8, I can have number of pairs as 7. If n is 7, number of pairs are 0 comma 0 pairs are 6. So since n is 7, number of pairs are initially 7, which is defined by n minus 1 initially. And result is nothing but this summation. So we'll store this result equals to summation of all the z1 plus z2 plus z3 values. So okay, now so result is for initially 0, okay, 0 7, initially result is 0. So first operation, let's try to make an operation. So which index you will need to pick? So if you pick index 1, you are just eliminating only one pair, yes or no, only one pair of 0 comma 0. But instead if you try to pick index 2, what will happen? I can directly make an operation such that this will be 1, and if I made this as a 1, can say that I am eliminating 2 pairs at a time. Yes, so I need to pick an index which will reduce my k value, so that it will not add up for the next iterations, for the next operations, and we'll get the minimum answer as possible. So initially everything is 0, so that we need to break this change. Since every array value is zeros, so number of pairs will be more since it is one block. Now if you try to break this block, into smaller blocks, what will happen? Like if we try to break this, block, we'll get a smaller blocks. Now because of these smaller blocks, we can eliminate maximum number of possible pairs, possible 0, 0 pairs, so that we will get the minimum result as a minimum as possible. So always try to pick index, always try to pick an index uh, which will give minimum number of pairs, 0, 0 pairs. So for since value is 8 and from index 1 to 8, I'll pick an index which is, I'll always try to pick an index which is middle. Why do I need to pick index middle? So that I can break this entire longest chain which is having continuous zeros. If I pick middle, I'll simply eliminate two edges in pairs. Yes or no? If I pick corner index, either 1 or 0, I'll be eliminating only one pair. But if I pick any index in between from 2 to 7, I'll be eliminating two pairs. But the selecting of that index should be optimal way. So if I pick middle element, I can break this long chain into two subparts, two smaller breaks, so that I can eliminate two pairs. So since 8, median of this mid of this array is, what is the median or mid of this array? Calculated by, since it is 8 by 2, 4, I'll pick index 4. Now I'll pick index 4. So total number of pairs, it is initially, so these are the 7 pairs. Now I pick index 4. I'll pick index 4. If I pick index 4, can I say that I will reduce 2 pairs? I will be eliminating 2 pairs. So eliminate 2 pairs. Total, what is the value of my z? My value of z should be 5. And result will be current, for the current operation, what is the z value? 5. So result will be 5. And for the next operation, which index you will pick? Since you have made this as a 1. Next, you can try to pick one more index which will break this entire. Now I break this block into two parts, this continuous zeros and this continuous zeros. Now again I try to break these blocks into smaller blocks so that I can have minimum z value. So I'll pick index 2. If I pick index 2, can I say that I will be eliminating these two pairs? So I'll pick index 2. In the second operation, I'll pick index 2, and number of pairs having 0, 0 are 3. So can I say that 3 pairs are there, and result will be previous pairs plus current pairs. Current pair is z. So 5 plus 3, which is 8. For the again next operation, since we are having 0, 0 pairs, we will be continuing this process. Now which index I need to pick? If I pick 6, if I pick 5 or 8, I'll be eliminating only single pair. So I can either pick 6 or 7. So if I try to pick 6, again these two pairs will be eliminated. So index 6, number of pairs having 0, 0 pairs are only one pair. I am having only one 0, 0 pair, and total result will be previous pairs plus current pair, which is 1. So total 9. And again if you make one more operation, since we are having again one more 0, 0 pair, again we will continue this process. We will pick either 7 or 8. If I pick 8, again I will make this to 1. So I'll pick index 8. Number of 0, 0 pairs are 0 or 0. So total result will be also 9. 9 plus 0, which is 9. And you can make and you can follow this operation. Like, what is your operations? You can find for remaining operations like 5th operation or 6th operation, 7th operation. You can pick any of the index and you can try to make this array in the form of permutations where array elements are belongs to from 1 to n. So again, if you try to pick an index 2 and make value as a 2, and z value will be same and result will be not. So let's try we are doing the same operation, fifth operation, and let's say you will pick again index 2 or any other index. Number of pairs are 0, 0 comma 0 pairs are 0, again result being 0, so that your result is not changing, right? Your result is same. So after this certain operation till at certain point, your result is not changing. So you need to find that certain point. What is that certain point? At this position where number of pairs are 1 or number of pairs are 0, 0 comma 0 pairs are 0, the result is same. So we need to stop at this position. Okay. So that's how we will get the output as a 9. Now this is the minimum possible answer. We can have the more number, you can have the more number of operations and result is also more, but we have to try to reduce this answer as a minimum. So minimum possible answer is 9. We cannot reduce this, we cannot able to form that, we cannot able to construct the array which are having the values from 1 to n, which is having result as a less than 9. Okay. So is it really required to construct this array? We are finding the result 9 without even constructing the array. So we are having only operations, we are keeping the track of operations, index and z, and index is also not necessarily, because we can either pick any of the index. If I try to pick index 2, next I will pick index 4, 6, 8. And you might have one question, what if the size of the array is odd? Since we are having size n equals to 8, we will be having till 8 index, so that you say that the answer is 9. We can pick index 2, 4, 6. What if there is only size n, size is odd, which is 7, let's say 7. So can I say that okay, let's take, so let's say if this is the case, if let's say there is no index 8, initially number of pairs are 7, it is 6, n minus 1. So initially number of pairs are, so operations, index, z value and result. So initially operations are 0, index you will not pick any index. So z values, since n is now 7, since you are having only size of 7, you will be having pairs as a 6, result is 0. So first when you do an operation, you will try to pick index 2. Now if you pick 2, you can eliminate 2 pairs at a time. So 2 pairs means 4. Now total result will be 4. Again in the second operation you will pick index 4, again you will eliminate 2 more pairs. So 4 minus 2, 2, result is 4 plus 2, which is 6. Again, since you are having number of 0 comma 0 pairs at 2, you will continue this process. So again you will pick at index 6, which is valid index, and since because of this iteration you will be having 0 comma 0 pairs as a 0. So result is 6. So for remaining operations, again the result will be same. So how can we say that the result is same until at this point, and after every iteration the result will be same. So can I say that for this thing, when do we need to stop? The answer is, for this, if we are n equals to 7, the possible answer is, if n equals to 7, answer is 6. Again try to do the same thing by taking an array of size 4. So if you take an array of size 4, since n is 4, you need to take array of size 5. So 0, 0, 0. Number of pairs are how many? 3 pairs. But 3 pairs. Now which index you will pick? You can either pick 2 or 3. Why? Why not 1 and 4? Because as I already told that if you pick 1 and 4, number of pairs will be eliminated as only 1. If you pick 2, you can simultaneously eliminate 2 pairs. Or you can pick 3, you can eliminate 3 pairs. So answer will be at one operation you will be having only one pair, which is 0, 0, 1 pair. So answer will be, finally your answer will be 1. In the same way 2, 1, you will get result as a 0. So I hope you understood the logic. It is nothing but you will be having contiguous zeros. Since we are having contiguous zeros, you will be having more number of 0, 0 pairs. Now how to reduce? If you have more number of 0, 0 pairs, it will affect the value of z. Now if you have more z value, you will be having more result. But according to the problem statement, we need to have the minimum possible answer. So in order to have minimum possible numbers, we have to reduce its z. What is z? Number of pairs 0, 0. So can I say that if we somehow break this entire 0, 0 pairs, entire block into two separate parts, small parts, so that I can eliminate 2 pairs at a time. Yes. So in the same way, I'll always try to pick the middle index, and I will break this longest 0, 0, 0's chain. Okay, I'll break this block into two smaller blocks. Now in the same way, if I do the same process till at certain condition, I can say that I'll be generating the minimum possible answer. Yes. And so for this problem, it is not really required to construct the array. We can simply track number of operations or number of z and result. So let's try to quickly code it up. So first, initially we need to read t number of test cases. For each test case, we will be given only single integer, which is n, size of the array. And yeah, we need to find the z value, yes or no. So z, initially z is nothing but number of pairs, 0, 0 pairs. How many 0, 0 pairs are there initially for a given array of size n? It is defined by n minus 1 pairs. Now for certain number of operations, we are decrementing the number of pairs. For each operation, how many number of pairs we are eliminating? Can I say that we are eliminating 2 pairs at a time for each operation in an optimal way by picking an index randomly, which is middle? Yes. So I'll simply reduce my number of 0, 0 pairs, and then can I say that I need to track of my result also? So I'll take another variable result, which is initially 0. Now result is nothing but for the current operation, what is the number of 0, 0 pairs, which is z equals to z minus 2, which is z, and result equal to result plus z. We need to suppose to do this operation until certain point, and if you observe that we have done the operations till which index? Okay, let's try to go for this. We made this operation till where number of pairs are 1 greater than 1. Okay, now the moment for the next operation, I can say that my number of pairs will become 0 and result is also same. And for the next iteration, number of pairs will become 0 and result will be same. So the moment when I encounter my number of pairs are greater than 1, I can simply continue this process. So okay, I can simply continue this process until my number of pairs, which is z, greater than 1. I'll simply continue this process and simply continue reducing the number of pairs 2 by 2 and adding into result, and at the end we will simply print output as a result. Now let us try to run this code. Yes, it is getting as expected. Now let's try to submit. So it is the correct answer. Yes. So that's it. So next problem, crazy permutations. Chef has two permutations A and B of length n. Here a permutation of length n is an array containing each integer from exactly 1 to n exactly once. So Chef wants to transform array A2 into array B using the following operation any number of times, possibly 0 also. So you have given two arrays. Chef has given two permutations, permutation A, permutation B, which is of length n, where array contains each integer from 1 to n. So array A will contains exactly integers from 1 to n exactly once, and you will be also given an array B where you need to transfer this array A into array B by using an operation any number of times, possibly 0. What is that operation? So choose an index I which is from 1 to n. So I can say that it is of 1 based index, since indexing starts from 1 to n, so it is 1 based index and 1 based index. Choose an index I from 1 to n and either increase that value by 1 or decrease that value by 1. However, after every iteration, including the initial and final array, the following condition must be hold such that a of I is not equals to a of I plus 1 for all the indices starting from 1 to less than n. Okay, so the operation is nothing but what are the input they have given. The operation we need to perform is either we can need to pick an index I. We need to pick an index I from this range 1 to n, whether we can either increase that value by 1 or decrease the value by 1. So however, we need to ensure that we need to follow a rule which is where for every index from 1 to I, so from 1 to n less than n, where array of I is not equals to array of I plus 1. So intermediate values may become any integers. They do not have to remain in 1 to n. So A does not have to remain in permutation, but final array must be exactly equals to B. Okay. Determine whether it is possible to transform A into B while maintaining the adjacency constraint at all the times. Print yes if it is possible, print no, otherwise we need to print no. Understood. So you will be given two arrays. Okay, array A which is of size n and array B which is of size n. And array A will consist of numbers which is from 1 to n. Okay, 1 to n in any manner, it is a permutation from 1 to n. And array B will consist the integers from any of the integers which is not exactly from 1 to n. They didn't mention that array B consists of 1 to n. And we are supposed to transform this array A into array B. By using the following operation, we need to pick an index. Either we need to increase or decrease that value. After that operation, we need to check that whether this rule is being followed or not. So what is this rule? Well, there must be there should not be any adjacent equal values. So array of I should not be equals to array of I plus 1. So adjacent rule, we can say that adjacency rule. So intermediate values can be any integers. So after the performing some operations, you can either increment or decrement this value, right? So you can have this value as n plus 1 or n plus 1, or else you can go till infinity. In the same way, if you choose to perform operation decrement, at some point of time you can also either have the array elements minus 1 0 or less than minus 1 till minus infinity. So you understood, right? You can perform that operation and you can make changes in the array such that the numbers will be belongs to from minus infinity to infinity. They do not have to remain in this from range 1 to n, but initially you will be given array elements from 1 to n. So final array must be equals to array b. So determine whether it is possible to transform the array or not. So let us try to look at the input format. T number of test cases. Each test case consists of size which defines n, which is size of the array A and array B, and you will be given array A, array B. Output format, print yes and print no. Print yes if it is possible to transform print A to B, always maintain adjacency constraint. Otherwise print no. Okay. So let us try to look at the sample input and output, and let us try to understand the problem statement. So first we have an array which is of size 2 and it consists of values 1 and 2. Now same second array we will be having values from 1 to 2. So why we can observe that 1 is equals to 1, so there is no change required, and there is no updation required over here also, since both values are same. So we can directly print output as a yes. We can directly print the output as a yes. And if we consider the second example, 1 comma 2 and 2 comma 1, the output should be false, which is nothing but no. How? Now let's say I want to change this 1 to 2, right? So how can I change this 1 to 2? I just need to perform operation updation on this 1 by incrementing plus 1. If I do plus 1, this will become 2. But the thing is, if I do plus 1, now the value becomes 2, which is violating the rule where it is equals to the adjacent element. Yes or no? We need to ensure that there are no adjacent elements are equal for all the indices from 1 to less than n. So if I make, so it is not possible to update the 1. So one possibility is to we can update 1 to 2, then it becomes 2 comma 2, so it is not possible. Now let's try to look at one more other way. Instead of updating 1, now if I look at this 2, I just need to reduce this 2 to 1. So I need to transform this 2 to 1, so I can reduce to 1. So if I try to reduce to 1, now what will happen? This value will be 1, and if I perform the operation to reduce 1 from 2, it will become 1. Again adjacent elements are seen, so elements are adjacency equal, so it is not possible to construct array B using array A. So no matter which operation you will do on which element, you cannot able to construct array B using array A without violating this rule. Okay, so that's why output should be false. No. So let us try to look more examples. So let's say this is array A consists of 3, 1 and let's say 4, and let's take one more array B which is having values say 10, minus 5 and 20. Okay, now according to this problem statement, there should be no, after performing operation, there should be no adjacent elements, like it should be array of I is not equals to, it should not be equals to array of I plus 1. Yes or no? While converting this array A to array B at any point of time for any operation, it has to be it has to be array of I is not equals to array of I plus 1. Okay, now if you look at this example, now we are trying to convert 3 to 10. Yes or no? We are first trying to convert 3 to 10. So what do we do? One thing is we need to increment this 3 value. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there is no issue to convert 3 to 10. Yes or no? So I can directly convert 3 to 10. Now I can simply, now what is the next thing? Now I need to convert this 1 to minus 5. So what is the thing I have to do? I need to reduce the value from 1 to minus 5. So while reducing, is there any conflict? Is there anything like this rule is violated? No, right? So I can directly compute, I can directly convert this 1 to minus 1. What about this 4? Even 4, I can also convert this 4 to 20, because at any point of time it is not violating this rule. But so we will print output as a true. Okay, now so the thing is mainly depend upon this rule. If this rule is being followed, we'll print output as a true, which means yes. If this rule is being not followed, we can print output as a no. So how to check whether this rule is being followed or not? We'll directly pick around each index one by one. So we'll look at whether we can convert this number into this number or not. But now when you have a set of numbers, like let's say 3 and 1, 10 and minus 5. Now if you look at 3 and 10, you need to convert this 3 to 10. For that you require an operation, increasing operation. Yes or no? You just need to increment 3 to 10. In this operation you need to convert 1 to minus 5. So at this point of time, you can observe that at any point of operation, you cannot violate this rule at any point of this operation, because they are not merging each other. Listen, like you can, since you can increase 3 to 10, because 1 is not in between 3 to 10, and also you can decrease 1 to minus 1, because 3 is not in between 1 and 10. But the thing is, let's say if you violate this rule like 1 and 3, now if you want to convert this 1 to 10, there is a 3 in between 1 to 10. Yes or no? Now if you want to convert this 1 to 10, there is in between, there is between a 3. So definitely you will violate this rule. So in such cases, like one thing is where the adjacent element is increasing. Now if you look at this example, one one's nest is 3, element 3, and when you want to try to increment, if this is increasing, this should be also increasing. Now if one thing is increasing and other thing is decreasing, definitely at some point in time these two both will meet at some point in time. Okay, let's say if you want to convert this value 1 to another value, let's say you are increasing this value, say you are increasing from 5 to 10. Okay, now let's say another way, now let's say there is one more. Okay, now let's say you are converting 1 to 10. Okay, you are converting 1 to 10. Now next in this process you will definitely match 3. Okay, fine. Now what happens? Now instead of 1 you will try to take 3. So 3, you need to convert this 3, decrement 3 to minus 5. So minus 5. So in this process also you will definitely have 1 in between. You will definitely have in between 1. So again I can say that it is not possible to transform 3 to -5. So do you observe that if one thing is increasing and another thing is decreasing, like one thing is increasing or another thing is decreasing, at some point in time definitely you will meet at some point in time. So it is not possible to construct A to B. So I can return directly output as a false. But how to find that one thing is increasing, one thing is decreasing? So you'll simply check compare with current element with the next element. So since it is increasing and the values should be also increasing in the B array. So it is 10 and -5, it is decreasing, right or no? It is decreasing and here it is increasing. So I can say that it is not possible to construct. Now in the previous case it is 3 and 1. Now this is decreasing, even this is also decreasing. Now it is possible to construct this array A to B. Okay. Now even in this case you need to convert 1 to 4, which is in increasing order, and now even in this case you need to increment 5 to 20. So definitely after some point of time you will never meet this 1 and 5 or 1 and 4. So even this is also increasing, so you will print output as a true. Yes. So when do we print output as a no? If something is increasing and adjacency of A is increasing and adjacency of B is decreasing, or vice versa. If this is decreasing or this is increasing, I can say that definitely will they both meet at some point in time. If either of this is, if this is increasing, this is also increasing, there is no issue with this. Even if this is decreasing and even this is decreasing, there is no issue. Okay, I hope you understood the logic behind this. So let us try to quickly convert this logic into code. Let's go to the input format. First you will be given t number of test cases. Okay, next you will be given size of array of both the arrays, I can say that. So you need to declare array A, which is of size n, and you need to declare array B, which is of size n. Now start reading array values, array A values. Okay, now let's try to start reading these values. C in A of I. In the same way you will try to read array B elements. Now is it possible we need to check, is it possible to construct array A, array B from array A by using those operations. So we need to pick any operation like any index, right? But the thing is, if something is increasing, something is decreasing, something in the sense the difference, the adjacency elements, array of I. Okay, I will tell you. Now I'll directly I'll simply check each and every index of my whichever index of my okay, I'll simply check each and every index of my I'll simply check each and every index of my array. Like if array of A is increasing with the array of I plus 1, okay, and if B of I is decreasing, B of I plus 1, then I can say that definitely they will meet at some point. Yes or no? Or there might be another case like vice versa. Or if this is violating, or even if this is violating, So if array of I is less than array of plus 1, something is increasing and this b array is decreasing, then we can say that it is not possible to construct. Even if array of I is decreasing and if b of array is increasing, even in that case also it is not possible to construct. We can directly say that it is not possible. So I'll simply maintain a flag variable. So boolean flag equals to initial assume that it is possible to construct. Now if flag equals to, if this is the case, I'll simply make flag equals to false, and then later I'll simply check flag equals to true or not. If flag is true, it is possible to construct, so I'll directly print yes. Okay, so next, if it is, if it is flag is false, we'll simply print no. So let us try to cross check with this test case. Yes and no, yes, and let's try to submit this code, and let's see whether will be well, let's see whether it is works or not. Yeah, it is working, so accept. That's it. That's all for today's video. I hope if you found helpful, please like, share and subscribe, and see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.